I found her behind the storage crates at the edge of Camp Harlow, hiding beneath a broken tarp, skinny, dirt smudged, and wrapped in rags that barely covered her knees. She was maybe 4 feet tall, with pale lilac skin and wide amber eyes that glowed faintly even in the shadow. At first, I thought she was injured, but when I stepped closer, she hissed like a feral animal and scrambled back, her tiny claws scratching at the concrete. "Hey, it's all right," I said gently, crouching down. "I'm not here to hurt you." Her eyes darted toward my hands, then toward the ration pack hanging from my belt. I understood. I sat cross-legged and slowly pulled the packet out. Beef and rice. Standard soldier issue. I cracked the seal and set it on the ground between us. Then I leaned back. She didn't move for nearly a full minute. Then, inch by inch, she crawled forward. Her fingers shook as she picked up the packet and sniffed it. I watched in silence as she devoured the food, her small fangs flashing as she tore through it like she hadn't eaten in days, maybe longer. When she finished, she didn't look up at me. She just sat there, arms around her knees, staring down at the empty pouch. Her lips moved slightly, and I barely heard the word, "Thank you." It was quiet, rough, but it was there. Her name, I learned later, was Senna. She was young, barely considered a child by her people's standards. An off-world trader had dumped her here weeks ago after her parents died in a supply crash. Said she wasn't his problem. No one noticed her vanish. No one except me. I started bringing her food every day. Sometimes soup, sometimes fruit. She never asked, but she always waited near the same spot, behind the crates, hiding under the tarp like it was the only world she had. I offered her a jacket once. She touched it gently, but wouldn't put it on. Later, I caught her sleeping with it wrapped around her like a blanket. "Do you have any family?" I asked once. She shook her head. "They're gone. Everyone's gone." I nodded, understanding more than I let on. I'd lost people too. Eventually, she followed me back to the barracks. She didn't say anything, just trailed behind like a shadow, barefoot and silent. I let her in, gave her a blanket, and cooked real food instead of rations. She sat at the edge of the cot and stared while I made scrambled eggs and toasted bread. When I handed her a plate, she looked up and whispered, "Why do you keep feeding me?" "Because you're hungry," I said. She blinked, but no one else did. I'm not everyone else. She didn't reply. But that night, when I turned off the lights, I heard her small voice from the other cot. "Good night, Dad." I froze. It wasn't a joke. Not something she'd copied from someone else. She meant it. I didn't answer right away. My throat was tight. My hands clenched. "Good night, Senna," I said softly. After that, it became routine. She called me Dad. Like it had always been that way. When she was scared. When she was tired. When she laughed, which she started doing more often. I never corrected her. I couldn't, because somewhere between sharing meals and helping her brush her sharp little teeth, she had become my kid. We weren't related. Not by blood. Not by species. But when she grabbed my sleeve before walking into crowds, or hugged my leg when something startled her, it didn't matter. She was mine, and I was hers. One day, a fleet officer came to the camp doing census. Saw her sitting beside me, eating dried fruit off my plate. "That one yours?" he asked, raising a brow. I nodded without thinking. "Yeah, she is." He gave me a long look, then moved on. Senna leaned in close after he left. "Did you mean it?" I smiled and tapped her nose. Every word. She giggled and grabbed my arm, clinging to it like it was the only safe place in the universe. She learned fast. How to read human script. How to repair small tools. How to tell jokes in my accent. Once, She found an old family photo in my locker. I hadn't looked at it in years. "Is that your real family?" she asked. "They were," I said, "but I've got a new one now." She smiled, pressed her forehead to my shoulder, and whispered, "Me too." We had bad days. Days where she'd wake up crying from dreams she couldn't explain. Days where she'd go silent for hours, her eyes fixed on the sky. Days where I didn't know how to help. But I stayed. Every day. Because no one had stayed for me when I was young and angry and scared. And because this tiny alien girl, this miracle I'd found behind a pile of crates, was worth every moment. Then one morning, she tugged at my sleeve with wide eyes. "I made something," she said. She handed me a crude little drawing, stick figures with too many fingers. One tall, one small, both smiling. Above them, written in shaky block letters, "Me and Dad." I looked at it for a long time, then pulled her into a hug. "I love it," I said, "and I meant it."